This is the show where Ohio throws down. Ohio is on fire. I'm your host, Daniel Diesel. We are live here on WWSU 106.9 FM, Dane's Right Choice, here in Fairborn, Dayton, Ohio. And we got a great show for you tonight. That I am here live. Yes, it is true. I am a real person. This isn't automation or a robot or pre-taped 2 hours in advance. I'm the real deal. And I'm live. But tonight we got Darrin Hough. He is from Ghosthuntingsource.com. It's located in Springfield, Ohio. And he's here tonight. He brought some friends from Spirit Expedition. So there's 3 guests. I'll get to know them during the interview. That's coming up close to 9 o'clock. Also, I got OMVP. Also, tonight for my music playlist throughout the show, I'll be doing the top 120 songs of Ohio. Most weeks I've been splitting it up. 6 new songs from the local area, and then 6 greatest songs of all time from Ohio. Last week I did all 12 of them. Weekly showcase, and this week I'm going to do the countdown. It'll be songs 90 through 79 tonight, so we'll give that a go. A little experimentation, if you will. First, I got Final Message, where I talk about the at the end of the show, Final Message, the truth of Columbus Day. It's a horrible truth, and I'm going to reveal it live on the show at the end of the night. And lots of fun. We're going to have a good time. If you have a question for me or a request throughout the show, give me a call at 937-775-5555. So give me a call on that commercial break and talk to me. See how things go. But I got some interesting news, some breaking news, if you will. When I was waiting for the show to come on, it was probably around 7:25. I actually got a phone call here in the studios. It was a live telephone conference. Today was the Sandy Hook, the Sandy Hook Promise Day teleconference, and they made phone calls. It was throughout Ohio and Indiana, so it was a regional event. And they called me. Well, they called the studio, and I checked it out. I participated. And a lot of people talked about how ways to improve gun violence in elementary schools and high schools throughout the country. It was very insightful talk. I did ask a question. They couldn't get to all the questions because they ended at 7:55. So I was there to listen to it because I had some time on my hands. Of course, one of the people that participated, his name was Mark, and his son died during the Sandy Hook shooting. It's a terrible tragedy that happened. And parents and family members and friends alike are trying to figure out what we can do to solve this problem. And one of the questions I asked, which they did not get to my question before the end of the program, I asked, is there any plans to put metal detectors in our elementary schools or some type of alarm system? I think that would be a great idea because when the Sandy Hook ordeal took place, the guy he ran in there like it was nothing. No one stopped him. No one knew he was in there to begin with. And of course, no one knew he had a gun. And that's when he attacked those poor children. And I'm thinking there was at least some type of security system that can track down if you have a gun or some of a metal object on you. I mean, we're in the 21st century. I believe we have the technology now. I think it'd be a good idea. Nowadays, if we want our little children to be safe going to public school, I believe that'd be the route to do it. I disagree with one opinion, one person on there. I kind of agree with the gun control group program. I think it's the NPR, National Pro Rifle. They've suggested in the past that teachers actually have a gun of their own, and that way if someone causes trouble, then it'd be self-defense and actually fire at them, or at least threaten them, which I think that's a bad idea. Remember elementary school, we had those few nasty teachers every once in a while. Most of them are good, but some of them just they weren't kid friendly. Could you imagine giving those type of people a gun? That'd make the problem worse. I mean, you wouldn't even need a whacked out guy running there with a gun. If a student was doing bad grades, he wasn't doing very good, all that teacher had to do was get out her rifle. Like, you better focus on your test right now or you're going to have a bullet in your head. Could you imagine that? So that's a bad idea. Yes, we need an alarm system. That way, the moment that buzzer goes off, it's a special type of alarm. It will go off, and there can be security that's there, or we can lock our doors. The classrooms can lock their doors, and we can hide until the issue is solved and the police gets rid of it. And that's really the only way. We can barricade ourselves. The students and teachers can barricade themselves in the rooms, and that's really the really good option. So I'm hoping there's a plan to initiate a lot of that throughout our schools in this country. So I got it off my chest. That was very interesting. So that was very wild. I think, teleconference knew our number. I think they called a lot of the press areas, because they called throughout Ohio, including those that had a press number, which we are a press-related organization, college radio. So that was very interesting and thoughtful. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, with that being said, tonight, I got waved at. Hello, how you doing? Oh my God! Wow, this is a good thing this was on television. I just got a gift. Anyway, I'll tell you later. It's Halloween night. It's Halloween special here on OhioIsOnFire, where tonight, of course, I've said we got Darrin Hough and his friends from Spirit Expedition. Of course, he's from GhostHunterSource.com. I got some poems, Halloween-related poems, and wow, live radio. It's good to be a DJ sometimes. If you saw what I saw, you'd be happy right now. I'm a very happy man right now. Anywho, I lost my train of Halloween poems. It's a website called theholidayspot.com. It's Halloween poems. I'm gonna read a few, get you in a Halloween mood. See if you like it. Some of them are pretty interesting. They're very short too, so that's radio friendly. Be short on time. But here's this first one. It's called "Halloween is Here" by Debbie, and it's just Debbie, no last name. Kind of like Madonna. It's time for Halloween, a day for trick or treat. When the kids dress up in costume and walk proudly down the street, they ring a lot for doorbells and collect shot of candy too. If they happen to see a ghost, they'll be greeted with a boo. Pumpkins light up the windows, and decorations adorn the front yard. So be careful when you come in, because a skeleton will be on guard. So go have a lot of fun and don't have any fear, because it will soon be over, and you'll have to wait till next year. Ooh, ha ha. Alright, that was decent. Alright, this next one is "It's Halloween" by Jack Poletsky. It's Halloween, it's Halloween. The moon is full and bright, and we shall see what can't be seen on any other night. Skeletons, ghosts, and ghouls, grinning goblins fighting duels, werewolves raising from their tombs, witches on their magic brooms, in masks and gowns, we haunt the street and knock on doors for trick or treat. Tonight we are the king and queen, for oh, tonight it's Halloween. Alright, the king and queen of Halloween, that's something. Alright, we got, okay, we're going to go ahead and do one more. This is "Witch's Stew" by Gareth Lancaster. So let's read that. Bubble, blubber, squirm, and gloop. Boiling broth of bat's tail stew. Wobble, slobble, liquid goo, in the sole of one old shoe. Spooky shadows dance around on frogs and rats and snailing hounds. Steam swirls raising to the roof at one small ear and one old tooth. Garly, scratchy, tickle, and itch. Stir round and round to make it rich. Mushy, sticky, sizzle and stew. They're making mischief just for you. Ooh, haha. That's creepy. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do one more, and then this is it. It's called "If You've Never" by Eliza Merchant Fowler. Here it is. If you've never seen an old witch riding through the sky, or never felt big bats wings flopping as they fly, if they've never touched a wing thing gliding through the air and knew it was a ghost because you got a dreadful scare, and if you've never heard the night owls crying "woo-hoo-hoo" and never jumped at pumpkin eyes gleaming out at you, if all these exciting things you've never heard or seen, why then you've missed a lot of fun, because that's Halloween. Oh, round of applause to Eliza. Alright, that's enough of that. So it's Halloween poems. There's over 20 of these. There might be hundreds. I think there's another section. Go to theholidayspot.com. And no, they're not paying me. I'm just doing this out of the kindness of my heart if I was interesting. Because with that being said, being that's Halloween, I decided to bring back a classic segment I haven't done yet this season, but it's coming back. Right now, it's called "Silly Holidays." Yes, it's back. So it's back for you and today in this country, and I got waved at again. But anyway, how you doing? Yes, this country, we have, other than Halloween and the major holidays, every day is a holiday, and it's a silly holiday, either silly or very unique. We got 3 of them today. The first one is Face Your Fears Day. And take a moment to consider what your life might be like if you conquer some of your greatest fears. What would you do different if you face your fears and you give your chance to stand up for yourself and conquer your fears? One of my fears is skydiving. I don't see how people do it. Maybe one day I'll muster up myself to do it. So, but since today, you got to do it today, though, or it doesn't matter after that. And I'm doing my radio show right now, so I don't have time to do skydiving. So we'll see about that. Now, but there's another holiday today. It's called Be Bald and Free Day, which is another holiday I'm not celebrating. There's nothing wrong with having no hair or a chrome dome. Be Bald and Free Day is all about being liberated, leaving your hat or wig at home, and facing the world without hair. Alright, we'll see about that. And last but not least is Ada Lovelace Day. Ada Lovelace Day was created to celebrate one of the first female computer programmers. And this was probably, I believe, the early 60s when computers was first experimented on as an actual thing. Yes, there was a time we didn't have computers in this world. And the first lady to actually do some work on the computer was Ada Lovelace. As the daughter of the poet Lord Byron, Augusta Ada Byron was brought up by her mother, Annabelle. And she was very smart, from a very smart family. And she got into computers after making the right connections. And there you go. So I tell you what you can do if you want to celebrate all 3 days at once. What you need to do is go to a local skydiving company here in Ohio, get on an airplane, and shave your head bald so you can be bald, and then get on your iPhone, because there's a computer device on your iPhone. Because thanks to people like Ada Lovelace, we have computers now. So shave your head, take your iPhone with you, surf the internet, and you then jump out of the plane and do all 3 at one time. Imagine that.
Welcome to Dayton's best radio station 2010. Whose house? Great State's house. Yee boy.
And we are back with Ohio is on Fire. I'm your host, Daniel Diesel. It's now time for everyone's favorite segment. It's now time for everyone gets in line for this. They put on their Halloween costumes, and they get jacked up for this. Because I'm talking about OMVP, Ohio's most valuable pedestrian. Do 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 do. Yes, it's time for OMVP. If you're not familiar with what OMVP is, it goes to either a person or a group of people that did something very interesting in Ohio, or something weird in a good way, or they're a legend and they're getting their honors due. I'm giving them honorary shout out like I did last week with Marshall Phillips. So it can go. So it's a positive thing. It's not a real award, but it's a shout out. I give you a round of applause, and you get some airtime on radio if it means anything to you. But I'm going to read this article to introduce MVP for this week. I got this from WGNTV.com. Urban legends say there's a portal to hell in Blue Ash, Ohio. A group of Satanics supposedly used to meet there in some type of altar room and conduct their rituals. They must have been pretty good because the legend claims they managed to open a doorway to hell. CreepyCincinnati.com blogger Rick Finbers told WCPO. Dubbed Satan's Hollow by area residents, it's located in the woods near a storm drain and it's on private property. Many residents claim to hear screams from the tunnel at night, and others report seeing floating images. Officers are called to the property about twice a year to remove trespassers, because this is a private property owned by somebody. One paranormal investigator told WCPO that Satan's Hollow is one of the scariest places he's ever visited in the world. Oh my goodness. And there's a video at CreepyCincinnati.com. It was from my Rick Finbers, because he did some investigating and it made the news. They interviewed him about visiting this place. Now there's 2 different videos. This one I'm going to play is about 2 minutes and 50 seconds long. And there's another one which I can't play on the air because there's foul language on the other one. You just got to look up Satan's Hollow, Blue Ash, Ohio, and it will show up because it's a new video. And it's actually a viral hit, but it's filled with dirty, unfriendly language I can't air on college radio,
Some time ago, Satanists used it as their meeting place. They would hold masses, have sacrifices there.
The narrow tunnels stretch several football fields, best illustrated by this hand-drawn map.
There is supposedly at the end of one of the tunnels an altar room, supposedly where the Satanists, actually had their sacrifices.
Satanic graffiti is scrawled on the walls. If we've got your attention, there's some bad news. The portal to hell is on private property and isn't open to the public. Blue Ash police say they are always chasing off teens that find a way to get to it. But if you're a true believer, it isn't just the cops keeping visitors away.
And allegedly they managed to actually open the door to hell and summon a demon that just hangs out there now and protects it for them.
Alright, now is the news video on that. And wow, well, the image of it's really creepy. I think a lot of, it's people, depends on what religion you are, what you think of religion or the afterlife. I'm sure a lot of people think it's real, people that do believe in a hell. Maybe there is really a portal that takes you to that place. I don't know, it could be just another urban legend, which I think you should lean towards. Because it's just, we live in a natural earth. I haven't seen it for myself. It's just it's a nice story. And of course, when I have my guests on tonight, we'll share some conspiracy theories about the world, the paranormal world, if you will. And that's what this Gateway to Hell deals with. And I guess it's something that you feel more than actually see. And what actually got me the most is that it's not a public thing you can visit. It's actually owned by somebody. That's actually someone's property, and someone lives there. There's like a little house. If you've seen the video, there's a tunnel and a big grassland, and then it seeps down, and then up the hill a little bit is a house, and someone owns that, and that's wild. Like, I wonder if they are. I guess we don't know. They're private citizens. Maybe they worship Satan also. Maybe they got a wild son that is into that. Maybe he's playing with voodoo dolls, and I'm going to tell you, it's wild, but. This guy that I was talking about, yes, Rick Finbers, he has a whole blog about creepy paranormal happenings in Cincinnati, and of course he was in that news story, and then he's also in his video that's 8 minutes long. So, but I tell you what, Rick Finbers, you might have a weird obsession with the paranormal. And Rick Finbers, you may have discovered the gateway to hell in Blue Ash, Ohio. And Rick Finbers, you might be paralyzed. You might be psychologically paralyzed for the rest of your life. That was easy for me to say. Seeing all these weird things. But I tell you what's something, Mr. Rick Finbers, you're something else. You are OMVP, Ohio's most valuable pedestrian. Rick Finbers. Alright. We are back with Ohio's on Fire. I'm your host, Daniel Diesel, and I got my tonight's guests for tonight for this Halloween edition of Ohio's on Fire. And there's three people here with me. First off, we got Darrin Hough. He is from Ghosthuntersource.com. And then over here in front of me, because you can't see it at home, but we got Debbie, and then we also got Andrea. They are from Spirit Expedition. And so we're going to talk about what they do. But hello, guys. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks for having us.
All right. Now, these companies, we got, Spirit Expedition and GhostHuntingSource.com. What was the inspiration to get these companies going? They deal with the paranormal. It's a big deal in this country. So what was the inspiration?
I've always had a belief in the paranormal, had experiences growing up. And in 2006, I started my own paranormal group. I'm going to give them a little plug here, Miami Valley Paranormal Services. And then we were always looking for a great place to get equipment, good equipment at a fair price. So I started getting involved in that and finding suppliers for that and started selling it online. And for the last 8 years, it's just grown every year. So I decided to open up a retail store in Springfield, and it's really working out great.
All right. Now, what about Spirit Expeditions? What's that all about?
Spirit Expeditions, it's been around now technically legally for about 10 years, but it goes back almost to 20. The Dwayne and Denise Harris, they started it off down in Tombstone, Arizona, doing the Crystal Palace. It was all indoors, and then they started realizing, hey, there's stuff outside, let's start expanding that. Did that for about 4 or 5 years, then they moved back to Salem, Oregon, not Massachusetts, not the witch trial, Oregon or Salem, but then they figured, hey, we can do the same sort of thing, and they've expanded it out across the whole entire country to now we have, 126
yeah.
tour cities all over the United States.
Wow.
And we're with Dayton, because Dayton rocks.
Dayton and Springfield.
With Darrin.
Yes.
Well, that's cool beans. But I gotta ask you now, for each of these companies, what's the primary thing that you sell, whether it's equipment or showing people how the paranormal world works? What do you guys do?
Okay, well, for me, at Ghost Hunting Source, all the equipment that you see on TV, I have there. Spirit boxes, those EMF meters, infrared cameras, all those items. If things get really bad, we got some holy water and some smudge sticks, too.
Wow.
But also, the store's in an old factory. And people ghost hunt the Robertson building where my store is. It's rented out practically every weekend by some paranormal group. And we're doing, with Spirit Expeditions every Friday, we're doing tours, and they can explain a little bit more about that later. But, yeah. So, that's what I do, the equipment and the ghost tours.
All right.
And then we actually do it every Saturday in downtown Dayton.
Yeah, we do it.
And plus on Friday now at Springfield, too, at Darrin's place. But we actually use some of the equipment that Darrin provides. We use EMF, we use EVP, we actually have laser grids.
Oh,
Dowsing rods.
that sounds cool.
Dowsing rods, or also known as doodle bugging.
Yes.
So we really do more about history, and it is a little bit more of the macabre
We specialize
history.
in walking haunted historical tours through downtown Dayton, and then in Springfield, we kind of paired up with Darrin and have a brief history of Springfield, and then we do a kind of a crash course, Paranormal 101 class, and then we take our group through the Robertson building and actually investigate for 2 hours. And
all equipment is included, so
included.
you really get a chance to feel like you're in your own paranormal show.
Wow.
And not just be like, oh, hey, I'm in a building that's creepy. No, you can actually get evidence. You can actually go through and find things. We've actually caught quite a few EVPs since going in, so it's really a great experience to have.
Now, the Robinson building, what was the main theory on that? I know a lot of these buildings are haunted. What's the main story on the Robertson building?
But do you want to answer, or do you want me?
Well, back in its heyday, they made metal advertising signs.
Yeah.
They did a lot for Coca-Cola and so forth. I do know of one death that happened there. Somebody was electrocuted there. And
A real death.
A real death.
Okay.
Not a fake one. Real.
All right.
Real death. But Debbie and Andrea have done a terrific job of pulling up history on the Robertson building, and I think you could add more to that.
The building itself is just a little over 100 years old, and it was started by, it was actually the Elwood Myers Company, and for about 20 years, and then W.F. Robertson came in from Cincinnati, and he was a turnover artist, and he saved the company because they were going bankrupt, and was going to flip it, but it started being really successful, and so he kept it, and it was the Robertson Steel and Iron Company for about until 1995, when they lost 2 of their biggest buyers and had to go under and close their doors. As for paranormal, well, I think that
it's not only just the building.
It's
but
not
there's
the building.
So much history from before.
Really close is a district, an old district called. We have to make sure that we say this right, or it comes off quite Scooby-Doo. Rat Row.
Yeah.
And that was around for until 1929, I think, and then it burnt down.
Okay.
But it was very close to the Robertson building, and I think we get a lot of spirits from over there, and then the Columbia Street Cemetery, and the Collier building as well. There were some casualties right next door. It caught on fire.
Oh, man. Well, okay. Well, that's probably among 100 stories, because I know throughout the country there's a lot of 100 places. So I'm sure if you want to look something up, perhaps you could. I mean, there's Google and stuff, but there's just so many. There's so many interesting stories out there. But that's some scary. If someone went through that, that's probably definitely scary. But of course, you touched up on someone being murdered. I was going to ask you that, but you covered that. I was wondering if people do get murdered by ghosts, but you guys say yeah. What do you guys think?
No, that's a ghost.
Different?
That's a ghost that he had a horrible casualty. The gentleman did, and he is still there. His spirit.
Also, they become ghosts.
He became a ghost, but he did not die from a ghost. There really is not any documented cases in America of a ghost killing anybody except for in Adams, Tennessee, around 1817 with the Bell Witch. So
that's the only one, and even that one,
is
some
questionable.
people feel is questionable because they say,
demonic.
okay, we just don't have the science yet to really get through to it. Well, sometimes one of the things that has been said to me, just because I can't explain it means that it's paranormal. Doesn't mean that it is ghostly. Doesn't mean that it is. It is something beyond normal, which means paranormal.
Yeah.
And you can turn that question around, and there's been documented cases where, supposedly a spirit came back to help solve their murder.
Okay.
So there was one in 1887 in West Virginia. You see on these psychic shows, too, that somebody's come back to the psychic to help solve that murder and so forth. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, do you guys love horror movies? Since you guys deal with the horror element for a living, do you enjoy watching movies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Well, for me, I'm not much on the hack and slash kind of stuff. I can watch them, but I like the ones kind of based on true stories, like Haunting in Connecticut, Poltergeist, Conjuring, yes, that was another good one. Amityville Horror, that sort of thing.
Well, that was one of the things I'm going to ask. The things that happen in horror movies, do they tend to happen in real life? And I guess you kind of answered that some of these horror movies are based on true events.
I think that's what causes those movies to be done, is that those events that take place, they really do kind of sit into our psyche. So we're like going, oh wow, do I feel like they're everywhere down the street, like they're making everybody's life is this? No, or they wouldn't be making the movies, they wouldn't be interesting. But they are so fascinating, they're so rich, and you just want to kind of bite your teeth into it. And how do you show it? Well, our way that we show it, before we used to have storytellers. Well, now our storytellers are becoming the movies.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Let me ask you this. One of my favorite movies was it's okay.
Sorry.
Live radio. It's okay. One of my favorite movies was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they've always said that was based on a true story.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but there was a man down in Texas who, yes, did brutalize people.
He drove across Texas, I think, with somebody's face.
Yeah, he actually,
exactly.
Wow.
But when you're getting into that, you can not just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but you've got so many different serial killers that have done something so brutal.
Oh yeah, well, they're a lot of sickos.
Turn them into movies, possibly, and that is going to be your horror film. But that's almost, to me, it almost starts to turn into some of your more torture films that they have. They're not always necessarily scary, but they're really more of that shock value that it's just like, whoa, it's jarring, and you can't help but just like, ooh, the fact that something like that did take place. Even if you take it back to some of the old smut films that were actually truly taking people out and killing them. All of those have actually they're illegal, and now they've been confiscated, but that happened back in the 70s, where they actually did film that kind of stuff. It's terrifying.
Oh, man. Now, I want to ask you one more question before we go to break. Do you feel that, now we got a lot of conspiracy theories in the world, and of course, I watched Jason Ventura's conspiracy theory show a few times, and it's been out there. Do you think ghosts had anything to do with some of the biggest American conspiracy theories we've had? Ghosts involved?
There's a group of people out there, in fact, kind of a large group of people out there that think that maybe the gray aliens that you might see on Ancient Aliens are actually, the spirits are actually the gray aliens. Yeah. And they may be like demons or a savior or some kind of helper for people. Just a theory, but there is a group that thinks that's the way it goes. So.
I mean, but conspiracy theories, that's exactly it. They're theories. And if you really look and try to find something, you can find a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory on almost anything.
Yeah.
It's a theory. It's a belief. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about paranormal.
It depends on the individual, case-by-case basis.
What do you feel? You got to sometimes search your heart, your mind. What do you think is true?
And if you're lucky, there's a group of people that
will
agree
help
with
and support you. And you've got 3 right here that'll be like, woohoo!
All
Tell
right,
me what your theory is. We'll help.
Well, woohoo! All right.
Hi, my name is Anna. I am a history major here at Wright State, and you are listening to WWSU 106.9, Dayton's Right Choice.
And we are back with Ohio's on Fire. I'm your host, Daniel Diesel, and I'm here with my guests still tonight for part 2. Once again, we got Darrin Hough, then we got Debbie, and then we got Andrea. They are representatives of Spirit Expedition and GhostHuntingSource.com, and we're having a nice interview. But and we're talking about the ghost hunting business, and of course they're experts in that field. And I want to ask them some serious questions. Now, for the least part, it is entertaining to watch, to hear these stories and watch people do what they do when it comes to ghost hunting and telling them these urban legends. And I am a fair and balanced DJ. I'm not being judged, Daniel. I am skeptical of there actually being ghosts. I haven't seen them or feel them myself. To me, it's just an elaborate story. Of course, you guys feel different about it. Of course, a lot of people out there will go as far as say you guys are frauds. That maybe you guys, kind of like those pastors out there that charges you like $200 and they'll give you a piece of bread and you'll be saved. Kind of, what's that guy, Peter Popoff. So you guys, I mean, I imagine you guys probably have been compared to that person before. Just being frauds. Now, how can you prove to a skeptic, if you do believe that ghosts are real, how do you prove that they are real? Get them to change their mind?
Well, I'll tell you, in my opinion, I don't think you can. They're going to have to experience it for themselves. I mean, I've shown people all their pictures and videos that we have, let them listen to the recordings. Unless they experience for themselves, they just don't seem to change. So I really don't think you can. What about you girls? What do you think?
I think it's just I think even when somebody says that they don't believe there really is a part of them that.
But I think for people that are believers, you need the non-believers out there.
Yeah,
and because
it helps.
When it comes right down to it, I can say, oh, there's a spirit in this room. Oh, okay, great. And she's like, sorry, I ain't buying it. But what I can tell you is the history is that here, this is what it is. And there was somebody back in 1972 that did have a heart attack in this building. Mm-hmm. And it's actually in this spot. So it's not just about... Okay, because everybody can say that they have a feeling or they have this, or they have that. You have to have proof. You have to have that skeptic.
Yeah.
You have to have that person. To me, it's a partnership.
It really is.
And hopefully you can have that person be in the same body to where they can believe, but at the same time go, I do believe, but I have to have proof. It's not just whatever. Or otherwise, like Andrea, we like to talk about Otho from Beetlejuice.
From Beetlejuice. We don't want to be Otho from Beetlejuice.
I don't know if anybody remembers the movie, but,
Otho!
Yes.
No, we do not want to be him. But, there is that, you come across people who...
You get charlatans.
Who do treat you that way. And you're like, no, really, it's here. And I think out of all 3 of us, I think I'm... And if sometimes more the more
and it's one of those things of if you don't want to believe, great, you're not going to. But if you do want to believe, good too. To me, it's still about entertainment. If if you're looking for an answer in your life, like I want you to find my lost Aunt Mildred that passed away, and she's going to be able to do something for me. Well, guess what? I'll get right on that, and you're going to find somebody for $200 and $500 or whatever that will find her for you.
But Darrin, explain about your group. They don't charge.
No, we don't charge anybody anything. We're in it for because we enjoy it, and for the science of it, and we're just trying to help people.
Okay.
We get calls of people that are sometimes really scared about what's going on in their house, and we've actually had. People from the church that's had to come in and cleanse the house. Mm-hmm. And, we do try and find answers for people. And a lot of times, probably most of the time, it's nothing paranormal.
Yeah.
We're able to find something else out. So.
Okay.
The floorboard just creaks. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's
Take a
it.
nail,
It's-
put
it's-
it into the floorboard,
It's
and
the
hey,
plumbing.
it's done.
It's
Change your
it's one of those-
wiring.
Change
Update your electricity.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? That's a good answer. I am very glad that you guys wrote a stamp for yourselves on that answer, because I know, because I watched a lot of 48 Hours. I know there are a lot of frauds out there. I mean, when I hear about the ghost hunting, like, I know people can't see it and I can't see it. I mean, it's a scary thing to think of it if it is true, but people talk about seeing it happen, and I mean, it's kind of it's a controversial subject. But you guys don't seem like frauds. You just believe, kind of like how kids believe in Santa Claus. You believe in ghosts.
Sure.
That's why I would put it.
Hey, Santa Claus is real, and he was real.
He was real in the 1700s. But go
Right,
ahead.
exactly. But he is based upon a real figure.
Yeah.
And you know what? Ghosts are based. I mean, every spirit is based off of an individual. So, yeah.
An individual that's still alive.
Yep.
Whether or not that they're here in spirit form, who knows? But it's the fact of we as people don't want to feel like it's a goodbye. And it's whether or not you believe in heaven, whether or not you believe in an afterlife, that's where maybe it's hard for them to let go. So yeah, they want to believe that their mom is still here. They want to believe their dad, their grandmother, their brother, their sister is still around them. And they can see them, whether it's maybe a figment of their mind, or maybe it's a group figmentation. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's still that you don't want to necessarily let go. And that's one of the things that I feel that with anything like this, you still have to have the respect there. You're still talking about somebody who used to be living.
Yeah.
It's still a person. And it's the same thing.
Okay. Now, for the sake of this discussion, assuming that the ghosts that might be haunting this world, they are real, what do they want from us humans? What's the number one thing they want from us?
He's going to have the best answers.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
I think so.
Well, sometimes they might have a message that they want to tell, just like, how they died, or was this, from a suspicious death, so they may have to help solve their own mystery, or they have some unfinished business that they might want to take care of to make sure that their family's in place and set so I can move on. And other times I think that they're afraid to move on. Maybe they lived such a bad life, and if there really is a heaven and hell, they're afraid of where they're going to go. And they're just going to stay right here.
Okay.
So...
And make everybody miserable.
and make everybody miserable.
Well, actually, I just thought of something else. There was a show that was on years ago. It starred Jennifer Love Hewitt. I forget the name of the title.
Whisperer.
Ghost Whisperer. There you go.
Us ladies know that one.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and basically what she was all about is passing people over.
Yes.
And there are people out there that is their specialty. It is to pass people over.
To help them cross over.
So the ghosts, they do want that. They might be stuck and they want to go someplace.
Maybe, but also
there's so many
there's
different.
some that may not want to.
And when it comes to spirits, there are so many different types of spirits. It's not all intelligent haunts, so to say. You have
not
your
all residual. It may not all be shadow people or poltergeists or demons or.
I mean, Darrin has, I'm sure, come across many examples of different types of intelligent. Where was it that you had the lights, the flashlight?
Well, a business in Springfield, they don't like us to use their name because they don't want to be thought of as haunted, but that's okay. For 35 minutes, and it's on YouTube, but we communicated through a light. I mean, if we asked this light to flicker 3 times, it would. If we said turn off, it would. Turn on, it would. I even put a flashlight on the floor and said, can you turn that on? And it did. And for 10 minutes, we had a battery-operated flashlight on the floor and an electric light on the wall doing the same thing at the same time. And we were able to film all that. Now, I couldn't explain that one away, so...
All right. Now another controversy in the ghost hunting world is that people want to believe that they're nice and safe in this world, that we do live alone, we're just humans, we dominate the earth. And of course, people that hear there are ghosts, if they believe it or they are upset by it, perhaps it might cause long-term mental harm. Like maybe they feel they are haunted by ghosts. Are you guys considerate of not trying to cause long-term psychological harm to people that don't want to believe there are ghosts that might hurt them or cause them grief?
I think that is it depends on the entity.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. It's like I use for an example, somebody may have a glass of wine and they're just fine, but somebody may have a glass of wine and it leads into a problem for them.
Yeah.
And I think that depends on the person when it comes to communicating with these spirits. Some people, you have to have a sound mind to begin with, I think. You know.
But also I think the reverse is true too, is that if you're constantly being bombarded by entities, whatever you want to call it, but yet you're denying the fact that they're there because you want to believe with all your might that they're not there, that can't be there, I will find everything there. You can go mad that way too.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I really do. What do you think,
Well,
Darrin?
and I agree, and I think that's where the paranormal investigating comes in, and it's really helpful. I mean, some people are so scared and they dwell on this, and that something is really going on. And if somebody from the outside could come in and actually show, yes, it is going on, and maybe we could do this to help, or
No,
it's
not.
it's
Here's
another
the scientific reason
explanation.
behind it. Right.
Yeah, and we can give those folks some peace of mind, and that's a good thing.
Well, that is good. That is good. You are considerate of, I guess these ghost hunting places, they are considerate of people's sensitivity, because, everyone's different. I know some people, I guess a big ordeal of where ghosts come from, like if a loved one died years ago and they want to see that person again, maybe they died in a controversial matter, and people break our hearts all the time. So I think the ghost world deals with that. Like, do we want our hearts broken again? And is there a way to live a new chapter in our life while we're still alive? And I definitely think ghost hunting definitely delves into that a little bit. And I think you three do seem to be sensitive to that, at least. Like, so that's good. I don't know if all ghost hunting places are like that, but at least I don't feel you guys are in certain fear just to cause people miserable. It's either entertainment or thoughtful.
And see, that's
what you guys do.
I think to me, it's really about entertainment to a certain value.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to take it with that little bit.
Well,
now, with
especially
Darrin's
for what
side,
Debbie and I do.
Now, Darrin's dealing more with these families. He's dealing more with people that are having something go on in their house. They're not comfortable with it, or they're trying to get scientific evidence and proof to actually be able to say, hey, I'm not crazy. And that's what he's able to do for people through Ghost Hunting Source, through his Paranormal Society. With doing those sort of things, it really is, it's a public service. It really is, just as much as if you're a psychiatrist and people are coming in on the couch.
Oh, there you go.
What do you think, Darrin?
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Now, but you had something else to say?
No, she said it.
That is a good analogy. Now, of course, you guys represent, Darrin's from Ghosthuntingsource.com, and you guys from Spirit Exhibitions. Throughout the rest of October, what special events, being that it is Halloween, I'm sure you probably get a higher audience than normal.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to be doing this month?
Well, Halloween night, me, Darrin, and Andrea, we are going to be all together at
the Robertson Building from
Building.
10 o'clock at night until after the witching hour, 1 a.m.
Wow.
Yes.
It includes pizza and pop, I'm just
Pizza
saying.
and pop, you get to use our equipment, get to do ghost hunting. We're going to...
3 full hours. 3.
We always take the recordings and the video and stuff, and we're going to be putting them online so, the folks that were, in attendance at that event can... get a hold of that and listen to it themselves and see for themselves.
And it's going to be a ton of fun. You get to hang out with Andrea, myself, and Darrin. We're going to be there. We'll be rocking the night all night long. I'll tell some dirty jokes. Who knows?
All right.
Some awesome history.
Well, that's the
We'll
best.
provide all the equipment.
And then hopefully we'll have the spirits in attendance going, woohoo! Way to celebrate Sam Hain.
To make reservations for these tickets, Darrin?
You want to go to ghosthuntingsource.com.
Okay.
Just click on events. You'll see a couple links. You can, book it through the website. You can even give me a call. No problem. We'll book it that way too. Every Friday, besides Halloween, with the exception of the 24th of this month, but Spirit Expeditions is doing 2-hour tours of the Robertson Building, using our equipment, so forth. we're going to be putting, the evidence online so the folks in attendance that participated can get it. And
then we have every Saturday.
Every Saturday we go downtown Dayton and we do a haunted historical walking tour. It is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. We start off at the Victoria Theater.
And
what time is that?
It starts at 7. It's 2 hours long. And we do some paranormal investigating also. And we actually get to go inside of a building, but shh, that's a secret and it's a surprise.
Okay.
So if you want to go, you have to come on our tour. But it's a blast, and it's always very active.
And it's a lot of fun, even beyond anything else, whether you're a believer or non-believer. We really do go over the history.
Okay.
And if you want to hear some really kind of cool history about Dayton.
Good stories.
Kind of get a little bit on the dark side a little bit. Yeah.
And for the Robertson building, also, it's very fun. And, we don't have age restrictions. It's, little kids to big kids. We'll take them all.
Yeah.
Come on. It's lots of fun.
there is one more event I'd like to tell you about, too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's awesome.
It's kind of a big deal, I think. On the 25th, there's a man coming in named Chip Coffey. And he's a psychic medium, spiritual counselor. He's been on shows like Psychic Kids and Paranormal State, and he's done a lot of talk shows and stuff like that. So he's coming to Springfield. I'm sponsoring him, and he's going to do a gallery reading at an old movie theater in Springfield. For you folks that might not know what a gallery reading is, but everybody in the audience, he may have a message for you, but not the person next to you. You never know who's going to come through for him, and so you might get a reading.
All right.
And you can get tickets on the website through that, or give me a call, 937-926-3911.
And if you want to get tickets for the Dayton Haunted Historical Tour, you call
1-855-99-GHOST.
Yes, 855-99-GHOST. Yes.
Well, that's cool.
But for the
ahead.
Robertson building, you call.
Just call me again at 937-926-3911.
All right. Well, get that information down. Of course, you can always Google it. Yeah, once again. And I believe that information is at the website, so it should be easy to find. Just remember, ghosthuntingsource.com.
And you can also go on Facebook as well.
And Facebook. He's on Facebook.
Right? Yeah, ghosthuntingsource.com on Facebook.
On Facebook, and Spirit Expeditions says Springfield,
Yeah.
Ohio, and Spirit Expeditions, Dayton, Ohio.
Now, okay, so for those at home that are interested, just check them out. All right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, with that. And we are back with Ohio's on Fire. I am Daniel Diesel. And of course, just now I played songs 82 for 79 of the countdown. I had the story changes. Constellation, that's my favorite song from them. And of course, I'm showing some more love to my DimCon festival because they will be a feature act at my DimCon festival. I'm so honored that they'll be playing at my festival. I'm honored at everyone that's playing there. They're all really good. All my acts there. I'll talk about that in a minute. They're at number 82 of Constellation. Number 81, Corpus Christi, Fight for Your King. Number 80, a classic from the 80s, Devo, Whip It. And just now, number 79, Walk the Moon with Vanna Sun. Real quickly, DimCon 2014, my first ever music festival, my first ever mega event. It's coming to the Old Yellow Cab building in Dayton, Ohio on Saturday, November 1st, where I will have The Story Changes, Agony in the Garden, Curse of Cassandra, Faith Baby, Sleds for Giants, Raz Cassie, and 19 Entertainment All-Stars, Ashley Martin, Moroni Lane, Raya, and I want to announce just now, Broken Like Me is now on the card. They're replacing Rob #Hinky. He cannot make it due to personal reasons. So the band Broken Like Me will now be on the card. And then to kick things off, he'll be the first act of the festival, Robert Watson. He's a true master of the guitar, so he'll be there. With that, it's now time for final message. I want to tell you the truth about Columbus Day, because we had Columbus Day yesterday, and a lot of people do celebrate it. It's dedicated to Christopher Columbus. He sailed the ocean blue in 1492. He brought his Puritans from England. I'm looking at all the other countries in Europe. They're on a trip, and I guess by accident, according on who you listen to, they discovered a land that wasn't on their trip, and they discovered it. And like I said, it depends on who you ask. According to the government, no one was there. There was no one that was in control of it. They just went there. They decided, we can start new lives for ourselves. Because they were, they do acknowledge, I know the government, these schools, they acknowledge that they were unhappy with the things that were going in England, a lot of the rules and the way they wanted to live. So they left England, they broke away, and they found this land magically. And they all believed in the Bible. And let's see, I'll try to take too long with this, but let's read the history of it. Columbus Day first became an official state holiday in Colorado in 1906. So it hasn't always been a holiday. It was celebrated by Colorado, and then it became a federal holiday for all states to enjoy by 1937. So people have celebrated Columbus voyage since the colonial period. In 1792, New York City, another U.S. city, celebrated the 300th anniversary of its landing in a new world. So there you go, a new world that no one had occupied. Interesting. President Benjamin Harrison called upon the people of the United States to celebrate Columbus Day on the 400th anniversary of the event. And during the 400th anniversary, teachers, preachers, poets, politicians used Columbus Day rituals to teach ideas of patriotism. Because that's these guys were full. They believed in a new country. Their views and values are supposed to reflect what this country is about then and now in the future. All right, well, you can look it up, but I call BS. If you know the story, I love this country very much. I always do. If it's one thing that we should need to quit celebrating, it is Columbus Day, Christopher Columbus Day. In fact, we shouldn't celebrate Christopher Columbus, period. Because if we knew the truth, Native Americans were on this country for hundreds and hundreds of years. And people had their spot. Back then, we didn't have the simple lifestyle of going to houses, having automobiles. Like people like me, we used to live in the life of luxury and simplicity and being in control of what's ahead of you. But it wasn't like that back in the 1400s. We were very early in human civilization. We weren't very smart. We kind of did things by nature and by root. Of course, the Native American race, they had found that land first. Of course, Christopher Columbus, he knew that, let me tell you something, he knew they were there. They were scouting. They weren't taking a vacation. They were scouting. They were scouting what land had the weakest people, or at least they thought had the weakest people, that they had their weapons, that they could do an ambush and take over. And they were going to take over, and the Indians, they gave them two choices when they came. Because him and his Puritans, they knew they were there. Either they can get in line with them and be their slave peacefully, or he would kill most of them. He would kill the fathers of those families, and he would just make them slaves anyway. He'd make the mothers slaves, and the kids, they would grow up to be slaves. And guess what? That's what happened. I know that sounds nasty, but that's the truth. Perhaps you can compare it to believing in ghosts. I don't know what your thoughts on ghosts are, whether you hate them or you're excited by it. Although this is nothing to be excited by. It's sickening. It's pretty much how slavery got kicked into gear in this country, because after the Native Americans finally manned up and broke away, yeah, I guess I can say man up, because they had their own rebellion against the Puritans, because that's where Thanksgiving came from. The Indians and the Puritans, the Christopher Columbus people, they made peace and had Thanksgiving. And guess what? The Puritans didn't have the Native Americans kicking around anymore. They had to find someone else. So they went to Africa and found black people. And then they took the place of Native Americans. And voila, that's the real history. But our schools, they don't want to tell you that, because it's a nasty history. That's like if you're married and you get married to someone you love very much, and you try to hide an affair. You have an affair, you want to hide it. And we need to tell our children the truth, because no one's perfect, no country is perfect. I mean, if you look back in all countries, we're all stupid humans. And we do stupid humans now. We're stupid humans right now. With the murders and the way we talk, the way we bully. We're all animals. We're all stupid. I mean, as a group of people, we're stupid. Individually, we have smart ideas. We can live our life. Non-observance. Let me read this part. Hawaii, Alaska, Oregon, and South Dakota are U.S. states that do not recognize Columbus Day at all. And a round of applause to that. And Ohio shouldn't either, but they do. Hawaii and South Dakota mark the day of an alternative holiday or observance. Holiday celebrates Discovery's Day, which commemorates the Polynesian discoveries of Hawaii on the same day, the second Monday of October. Though the name change has not ended protests related to the observance of Columbus discovery. The state government does not treat either Columbus Day or Discoverers Day as a legal holiday. State, city, and country government offices and schools are open for business. South Dakota celebrates the day as an official state holiday known as Native American Day, rather than Columbus Day. Oregon does not recognize Columbus Day either as a holiday, nor commemoration. Schools and public offices remain open. Iowa and Nevada do not celebrate Columbus Day as an official holiday. However, the government is authorized and requested by statute to claim a day each year. Several other states have removed Columbus Day as a paid holiday for government workers, also maintain it either as a day of recognition or legal holiday for other purposes. These include California and Texas. All right, so let me get back to my thoughts. But yes, I totally agree with non-observance of this day, because it's a nasty history, and what they're telling you is a lie. What Ohio schools is telling you, and I'm talking about elementary and high school, what they're telling you is a lie. It's a big secret. Maybe they think they're protecting the children, but trust me, you're not. College, they tell you the truth. So you learn the truth in college. They don't shy away from what really happened. And for Ohio, for the state of Texas, and unfortunately people that grew up with learning that story, and they grew up old, and they think they're true patriots. They will never change their mind. In fact, they get ticked off when they hear anything different about Columbus Day. I'm open to debate you on it. And people get really angry when you feel like what they believe in, it's being attacked and it's being destroyed by someone else. In Ohio, any other state that observes Columbus Day, I ask you, it might be too late for people that are old now and they don't want to change their ways. They want to believe the lie. But it's not too late for the children. Let's tell the truth. Let's man up. Let's learn the truth about America. It's ugly. All countries have an ugly past. We're all stupid. But let's learn not to be stupid. We can get better. You learn from the mistakes of bad people do bad things. We need to tell ourselves how to do the bad thing, to do the good thing, to make this place better. And let me tell you something. What we have now, I would contribute very little to it to Christopher Columbus and his crew. We have a Civil War to thank for that, which we needed to, because a lot of people in the Civil War disagree with the Christopher Columbus theory. We got smart, and that's why this country got improved, and we will improve every day on every pitfall that we have. Ohio, that's the way it is.